Well, hello.
Hello,
How are we, Kate?
beautiful people.
Already bringing out the big distraction.
Getting us started early, Kate. I like it. I like it.
Look, you legally speaking, you have to do these things. So, Nate, I don't know if you were there for when we built a mercenary group. Also, hello, Nate. But if you have 10,000 channel points, as long as it fits within the confines of characters within the world, you can make an NPC to join Farden's Finest Soldiers, or FFS for short. McCade, do you want to? Oh wait, I should just make this. Oh, should I make this like a Discord thing where people have to put their NPCs that they've made in there, or do we make this just a? Because do we have the doc still? In a second, I'll see if I have the doc.
Yeah,
I definitely have the doc. Just where?
it's definitely somewhere. We just need to try and find it in our chats.
No Warforged yet. But next campaign, yes. I can give you the. One second. I should have I can find this stuff. Just give me but a moment to do this. I just have to find our other. Other stuff. Let's get
I don't know why I can't find it.
I've got it.
You got it, okay.
I just need to get the what's the word? The actual All right, we're here. So, this is our lovely creative mercenaries. We're still working on the founders. So tonight, Nate, we're doing a bit of recapping. We're actually going through Kingslayers and everything that's brought us up to this point, and we're going over what's happened and what could have happened if the party had approached it slightly differently. But we're also getting distracted by adding mercenaries to Farden's Finest Soldiers. So, this class race list is what we got to work off of. So these are your options for races. It's 10k channel points. It's a redeem in the chat, Nate. I believe you probably have an O.
Yeah,
but
you probably do.
I will also make a Discord channel right now. And we can make this a. This is definitely off topic, isn't it?
Discord. Gonna make two. You know what? Go ahead. I won't even be mad.
Gonna make two. Look, if you got the redeems. Yeah, we now have Farden's Finest Discord chat. So Kate, go ahead and put your premise in Farden's Finest Discord chat.
Let the whole world see.
But yeah, it should be a redeem in your redeem section for your lovely channel points. One is going to just be a one-to-one copy of the Rap Brain emote. I love it.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's a wizard, right?
It has my endorsement. Yeah. Just whenever they cast spells, it's just Raffred.
So we'll go over this.
Yes.
So, okay, it's already got it. So, Sirakir, Alchemancy, and Nate, you can write up in your. You're cool enough to be in the Discord server because you're very cool like that. There's Farden's Finest Discord chat. Go ahead and put your premise for what you want to be in the guild, and we can go ahead and Raft Brain conspiracy theorists. Love it. So we've got a tiefling named Sirakir, who's an alchemancy wizard. Sirakir once made his home in a small town called Bone Point, but was forced to flee after an accident occurred at his home, exposing his experiments to all. Sirakir was an evil man. Someone who cared little for those around him, but thrived in experimentation. He loved to push the body of people to their limit, through means that would be seen as cruel. He stumbled upon FFS in the early days while on the run, trying to put as much distance between him and the people who wished to see him dead for what he had done. Originally, he pitched himself as someone who else would be called Calico and claimed that he was a very capable caster. After allowing FFS to see what he could do. They saw him as a very useful tool. From that point on, Sirkir, now going by Calico, acts as a company's torturer. Okay.
Ooh, lovely.
Company's torturer. Remember, we're not evil, we're just willing to bend our morals for money.
Yeah. I like how we started out with being very morally grey. Just like, yeah, we'll bend some of our morals for money and stuff like that.
Now, company torturer.
It just descended. Like, after we set that out, everyone's ideas were like, yeah, this person's a mass murderer. Cool. This person here uses orphans as bombs.
Torture, money, yes. So, Rap, would you like to let the good people know what Farden's Finest Soldier's insignia is?
If I remember correctly, wasn't it a horse with gauntlets on its hooves?
Yes, a gauntleted hoofed horse.
It answers the age-old questions of if a horse wore gauntlets, would it wear it like this or like this? And we declared our answer to that question.
That's it. Alright. That is a tiefling named Sirk here, now going by Calico. No, we just have some redeems coming through for Duke for people wanting to add some NPCs. 10,000 channel points.
We are getting distracted before the stream can even really truly begin, Duke.
Alright, we now have a company torturer. Nate, when you get a chance, go ahead and type up your redeem into Farden's Finest Discord chat in the Discord server. You can make 4 if you really want to.
Can you send me the link?
Oh yeah, bet.
I have so many channel points. I don't know what to use them on. I just seen it on a gold mine.
1 second, I'm going to just so I don't share this link just out in the world.
Oh yeah.
1 second. All right, so while we wait for Nate, do that, we will start our recap. When it gets typed up, and I noticed a message in the Farden's Finest Discord chat, we'll get back to that. Until then, we are attempting to recap a little bit. And last week we made it back from sessions 1 to 6, talking about the start of Kingslayers, how they kind of got out of the jails within Burton, how they talked to Everett, and kind of what would have happened if they'd gone to prison, what would have happened if they'd gone with Valna. Talked about the soul-shattering weapon in Shattershore Prison. We talked a little bit of what could happen. We got pretty much up into the point where they made their way to Eosphere and first met one of the pivotal NPCs that they would ever meet, who honestly started them down on a very, very big journey of events.
Yeah.
Kelsier, starting off on a very, very small job for him to just catch some displacer kittens. Kelsier being a animal sanctuary, or a monstrosity sanctuary, I suppose is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So we got up to that point. Our party was, I want to say, level 7 by the time we got to Eosphere.
I'm not sure. I think we were like...
Because it was session 7 to 8, actually. Level 7 to 8, because the first first four levels regained were back to your point. So,
yes, that's true. I forgot about that. Yes, we were level 7 by this point.
So we got to there, and it was kind of as the Kingslayers became what would kind of be determined as like their pre-memory loss strength. That was the kind of point that they were like, they were a certain level of strength, and now they kind of reclaimed that, and they're back to what they all the kind of the grogginess of their life. And we got to Eosphere. I believe in the journey, Zamani got
let me have a look.
Fajik, your guy's nickname was the Physician.
That's right. Okay, so we started out... Actually, this session started out with a rather interesting little deviation from that. It started out with us trying to track down the Sato girl that was kidnapped by the
it didn't it?
Human traffickers with the criminal organization known as the Petals, which had us go to the docks, look around, and basically come to the conclusion that she had been taken to Serok, which was actually our first kind of I guess out of backstory wise, our first major tie to Serok as a place, and
Yeah, your first
also the
option to try
first,
and go that way.
yeah, and the first actual connection to some people's backstories as well, indirectly, but still bringing that in, which is actually something that I find quite interesting because we could have very well tried to pursue the go to Serok.
Yeah, you guys have had
If
multiple
we,
options. I've given many options to go to Sarah. I gave it.
yeah,
Then I gave the like you guys technically still can go to Sarah at any time because you have a teleportation disc.
yes. Which I look, I also do have that in my back pocket as like if I need to just like rapidly teleport us out of a situation where it doesn't matter where we go, as long as it's not here, I have this.
Yeah,
disc.
true. Because it's worse like it's
Um,
instant teleport,
yes,
just bringing you all
yes.
there.
So
So that is actually a really good get out of dodge card.
yeah. It's like the most extreme get out of dodge card, but like if we really need it, like if we're
Yeah, because that's
Empire
bringing
is
you
almost
to a
dead.
Petals location. Like that's
Yes,
like that.
yes,
It would be out of the out of the frying pan and into the fire, but maybe
Yeah.
out of the fire and into the frying pan. Like,
yeah. But it's pretty much be used in a situation where it's like we're in the shit. It can't get much worse, so let's give this a shot.
at least we have a chance to talk if we get there.
Yeah, and there may not be anyone at this location, but when we arrive, so who knows how it will go down.
Yeah, it's a risk. God, I would
but
love
yeah,
to see
so
that
was
come
interesting.
to fruition. But yeah, you said it
Yeah.
started with that. Other than that, the 5 to 6, yeah. What else did we?
People, we kind of just had a bit of bits and pieces. That's also this is the session that I had the dream of two certain star elves, well, three star elves talking in a certain hut.
Oh, you did, didn't you?
Yes,
Where you saw what
Yes.
would eventually be known to you as. Well, you didn't. Technically, you saw two. The third one was you in that moment.
yep. I inhabited the body of the Dying God as he spoke to the Dawn Watcher and the Matron. And it was a rather interesting scene because out of character, I knew her so much more than in character. And it's something that I hope comes up down the line.
Hopefully.
Laying the seeds of something for later.
Laying the
Um,
seeds, but
I think that's also this is the session as well where we actually another major thing happened during the session. We hired Olivia.
oh yeah, you guys went to Olivia and were like, "Hey, we
We
are going,"
hired
and
Olivia.
you officially got your first retainer for the
Yes.
castle.
Which, if I'm recalling it right, that was something a bit of a surprise for you. Like you weren't expecting us to go.
I
after
wasn't
Olivia.
expecting. Olivia was so in my notebook, I have like a significant NPC, a minor NPC, and then just like a name list. And Olivia was literally just on the name list of like someone
Yeah.
connected to a minor NPC, which was Ollie, who was the guy who took the Siren Song mission before you guys. I
Yeah.
never expected to see that side of Rainier wanting to save Olivia, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a really interesting side to Rainier that I want to see develop more and like get more depth into because it's a very different side to what we've usually seen.
I'll also point out that Olivia died because of that as well. Like, was her life,
yes.
was her quality of life really improved by going with all of you, or would she have been better off just opening a store? Like, because
I mean,
technically, like, I also
yeah.
pointed out to you all that Aris Fall, where her partner died, is like something equivalent to like a small area, but in that bit there was a cottage for sale in Aris Fall where she would have had enough money,
That's
and
true.
you guys could have just gotten her a cottage and set her up in a small, quiet village, but instead, like, decided to bring her with you, which like is an option, of course. It was an option that
Yeah.
was like I wasn't going to turn down, but it's
Yeah, which is like that was something that honestly it surprised me a bit as well. Like I wasn't expecting us to take her on as a full retainer. So that
it's
that was
well, look, a
something
tailor is
that-
very good to get.
Yeah,
It does help.
And like, look, it's not something that's campaign changing, but it's just one of these little decisions that we made that was a bit unexpected, but also just a really nice bit of character development and storytelling.
But
What am I looking
After that, I believe Zamani got Locke in that trip as well.
Yes. Yes. That was when Zamani and also lost her tongue to the Decaying Lord.
Yes. Yeah, the seamstress died, but she was resurrected. We'll get to that when we get to the RIL keep recap part.
Yeah. But yes, and then we finally made it to Eosphere. Like you said, we met Kelsier, and really... yeah,
we had a lot of stuff to... You guys, I thought like a session, maybe two, but Eosphere ended up being... I want to say that's 4 or 5 sessions before you left Eosphere. It was kind of the first bit of like, we're going to roleplay for 4 hours. That's kind of like when the meme began. It's kind of like Eosphere when you guys finally got the open world. It's like, oh, well, like, you know, we had like the break into Kelsier's home with Rainier and Zamani, the first kind of moment for them to bond. We had all the derby stuff, like all the kind of events of the day that you guys could have done, the race, and then the actual more like how would you put it, like not so much the race but the derby. So you had the race and the derby, and it put different, like, you know, like different betting odds depending on if you won or lost different ones. But you guys, this is where we met 2 very pivotal characters as well, Nagel and Derek, and the first ever moment we got introduced to the Shadow Paradox, I don't want to say a rival mercenary group, but another mercenary group out within the world that operates out of Onderal, quite up close to Ojikir, where it's wild to think that was introduced in sessions about 7, 8, and now 30 weeks later you're going back there again just to see it one more time. It's like these kind of knock-on consequences that have all just been like, all these little bits left out have been very, very fun to explore. But
before we reached the races and everything, though, there was actually something quite interesting as well that wouldn't be brought back up until, I think, just a few sessions ago that we found out, which was us. Who was it? I think it was Mokestil trying to send a message to
Samael.
Kiana.
Oh, yeah.
And Samael intercepting it and appearing before us. Now, that was something that we wouldn't really find out about until we spoke to Joran Vier and learned more, but that was a mystery to us and actually led to a lot of speculation on our half of, okay, is Samael like tracking us? Does he have a means of just
before you found out that he can track the spells you try and send? Is Samael appeared before you out of blood and air, and all of you kind of showing that the effect that while the sleeping bloodline is like not active right now, it's still there is that like innate control he can have over you all, which would be like very concerning down the line if you never managed to break it, because all of you froze. Like the ones that were there could not even move when Samael showed up.
Which was actually just a really disturbing moment for me, out of character, and just the amount of panic thoughts I had was like, shit, is this like still the level of control he has over us that he can just like pull out at any stage? Like, what is this? What, like, is it just a message? Is it something else? Like, yeah.
You still don't really know the answer to that, though.
We don't.
You don't. You have theories from Jarnir that it is the sleeping bloodline, probably. But it's
yes, probably.
That was very interesting. And then down the line, we find out that he can basically, like, magic that's going close to his domain, he can patch and manipulate how he sees fit. Like that. That is a strong ability, but it's a saint. Like, this is minor divinity. Like, you know, it's certainly a certain level of strength. But after, I'm trying to think like series of events. So we had Samael. Did you do the Displacer Kitten quest after that, which was just like absolute?
We did that before. Actually, that was very early into our time in Eosphere. Like, we pretty much just got that done, like second day, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So that was very much cleared up, and it was actually interesting to see the whole Rainier trying to hate Kelsier.
Yeah, she tried so hard.
Yeah, and Kelsier just turning just at every turn, just being the most lovable, wholesome person out there.
Yeah, and then that eventually turns out so bad down the line. But yeah, that was you know, in that regard, it was like this kind of like Kelsier was not the villain like that Rainier had in her mind. Like, kind of not like showing that her worldview, she wasn't like correct in her assumptions, which I think was a very interesting like point. It's like you have all these like like these views, and it's like, no, like it's not
Yeah.
always as bad as you make it out to be, or
Yeah.
like, you know. Okay, Nate says, there you go, 10k channel points well spent. All right, so let's
Ooh,
swap over to
okay,
our
interesting.
other screen. So we have, for our pleasure of reading, thank you,
Ooh.
Nate, one of the founding 10 members. We have Fairbanks, was a librarian who was obsessed with the minute detail contained within historical chronicles. He was convinced that the little details contained some divine or monstrous secret about the cosmos. As he dug further, he began outlining a chaotic map of notable events, people, wars, and location. The work became an obsession, and an obsession became like breathing. He started hearing voices. At first, they were little more than impulse guiding him to this book or that one. The murmurs became instruction, and he was compelled by these voices to some long-forgotten ruins, to a long-forgotten god. This god revealed themselves to Fairbanks through a discovered bag of bones and stones. These items now instruct him on how to read micro-expression of reality. Fairbanks wandered the world, looked for some way to influence the world with this knowledge, eventually falling in with Farden's finest to keep him around the headquarters as a novel oddity. There's a great old one warlock. His mutton chops have absorbed his eyebrows. Okay.
So he just stumbled across the form of the Dying God.
Look, great old ones. It'd make you mad. That's 10k channel point. It fits within the setting. He's human. Look, that's callous India if the mind was a little bit less cracked.
Yeah. It feels slightly less cracked than Fortnite.
Okay. That is member number 8. Okay. 10k channel points well spent.
Definitely well spent. I like that character actually, and it's something that's a bit, quite a bit different from what we've made so far, and it just pulls it back a little bit on the evil side of things.
Yeah, it's just a little bit less evil because we have a lot of evil characters coming. Yeah,
definitely the embodiment of the Wrathbrain.
Sometimes you just gotta be. Thank you for the 10k channel points. Well spent, Nate, though. Thank you for the NPC.
Yeah.
Arden's finest soldiers are the worst possible beings, and I love it.
Yes, absolutely. They are terrible people.
Look, I'll leave it like 1 per person per stream just because, like, timing. Kate?
Yeah.
Love your bloody faces. We love your face, Nate. Well, we'll say 1 NPC per stream. Just I can probably change that with the redeems to be once per viewer, just because timing. Like,
and also just trying to leave it open for different people as well.
Yeah. Well, not more than what people do, but just so we don't have this entire stream just someone with 80,000 channel points. We make 8 NPCs and that's it. But look, no, we can see. It's obviously only the world building since we don't do this in our mainline game, but yeah, it's a bit of fun. So we were saying in the campaign, you guys kind of did the Displacer Kitten, which was it was definitely a light-hearted mission. It was kind of before things started to get serious, and I definitely think we can put a pin in where things started to get serious, and it was the end of Era Sphere. The end of Era Sphere is when things kind of took this light-hearted, like, oh, we're adventurers trying to get a bit of money, with still, like, we have this heavy task. It's kind of, I don't think since, up until, like, maybe now-ish, for the time being, you've had serious work. Whereas right now, this was, like, the end of, like, I don't want to say innocence, because the party was never, like, innocent, but it kind of was that time period where it's, like, the stakes and consequences weren't so dire. It was these small jobs for various different tasks, and I think it was very, very interesting because it was a fun task. And then we started going off to the races, which I'm trying to remember who won the race. I think it was
Sestra.
I think she did win it in the end.
No, it was Nagel. It was Nagel.
Nagel
won? Yes, because she was the reigning champion.
Oh yes,
and which is actually interesting. Was Sestra a character who could have been more?
But yeah, if you had gone and sided with her in the derby, she was a possible recruitable character.
Okay. what would have she been like? I mean, just in terms of like, because I imagine she's dead now, as
Ah, look.
Iris is.
Yeah.
But like, what would have she been like in terms of both her mechanical stuff as a retainer, but also personality wise and everything
So
else?
one moment, I'll pull up her NPC page. I believe I should have her somewhere here. It's further this way. Um, so I believe she had some small innate magical abilities, like as you witnessed
Okay.
in the race. Definitely tried to do it a little bit, but Sestra specifically, she was a tiefling racer. But she was a very, very strong cavalier. She would have been a cavalier retainer. I believe she is a starting level 5-1.
That's cool. That's
So
really
a
cool.
mounted combatant, like she's very, very capable, would have been like a fighter companion. So she would have been helping like tanking in those kind of earlier levels because a level 5 retainer at level 7 is extremely strong. For Duke,
Yeah.
we have 8 of the 11 founding members. Or 8 of the founding 10 members. I'm not sure what we decided on. I think it was 10. Yeah, we're on 8. Yeah, Sastra would have been like would have been a different approach to go. But because Nagel won the first one, he got so obsessed with wanting to win the second one as well, which saw him actually approach the party for the derby to be like, hey, let's do you want to cheat perhaps? Like,
Yeah.
but also I want to point out, so the Displacer Beast quest in Earsphere had a reward of 700 gold, and we just got through a onslaught slugfest
Yeah.
with a half yacht for 1,000 gold. Didn't even get it.
Look, we just need to find more displacer kittens to round up, honestly.
Look. But wow. Also, I think one thing we skipped over is on the way to this, we did deal with the where's the Eagle quest? The main protector of
Yes.
Iris Fall was something
You're right.
is something we skipped over. So that was again another little journey into the Marbury where the first agents of the Marbury actually saw you guys come close and
Yeah.
kind of had that first like skirting encounter. And you rescued a being like I think it was very close. I remember there being a very, very high roll. I can't remember the DC off the top of my head. But it was difficult to find. You found the babe of the two-headed eagle. Yeah, what up, Crimson? How you doing?
Hey, Crimson, how
Um,
you doing?
But yeah, so we had this moment where you guys found the two-headed eagle, and it was like, again, that is like, you know, ramification-wise, we may see some stuff of that coming down to lie in the end because that was the
Yeah.
protector of Aris Fall, if I'm not mistaken.
really curious because we haven't had anything come up yet about the eagle or any connections to that. So I'm very curious down the line to know what's going to happen there.
Well, it's more so the fact that you're not going to see sirens and stuff taking up on the like the shore of Irish Falls. Like that, the two-headed eagle would protect it for that. Like those small dangers are protected by the two-headed eagle. Now, like a higher level thing could certainly come through and roll them, but it's like for now it's protected. Like Irish Fall is a safe place to live again, which we would have seen probably like. For example, Rainier's sibling and the one guiding it, Gromthir, is you know, it's if they noticed that there was no defender, they may have even ransacked that place. Whereas the Third Eagle, he's just being the presence of a possible fight made it just not worth it.
Yeah. Especially with the reputation I'm sure the eagle has.
Yeah, that's definitely more like a mythical being than like. Albeit mechanically, it's probably not as strong. The legend and lore behind it is stronger than the actual capabilities.
Yeah.
Which is a
But
very
that was
interesting.
very interesting. I'm also very curious to know, did we actually find out who injured it?
No, you found out it was hunters, but you never found the hunters.
Is this like a major plot thing in terms of who did it, or is it just
No, it was some small hunters in Marbeer that was kind of like mostly just like not like related to Samuel or anything. It was just like a small B plot of like poachers. They're definitely still out there, and if Kelsier had stayed in Earsphere longer without that dream happening, he would have contacted you down the line to deal with those poachers eventually.
right? Okay. Fuck. I'm actually. Can we skip forward a little bit here, Des?
Okay.
If I hadn't used Rune to contact Kelsier that night, would he have died? And the whole Eosphere thing happened.
No.
Oh fuck. Okay.
Basically, Gromithyr did not trust his brother in that moment, and once he saw an elf sleeping, he was like, something is up. Stab. Yeah. He kind of detected magic. He could detect that the dream spell was affecting Kelsier, and it's just like, did a bit of looking around. Like, there's certain, like, Kelsier doesn't keep like a very expansive journal, or didn't, but he kept enough notes that contradicted the stuff he was saying to his brother. So it's like, all right, you can't be trusted, because this is a paranoid dude who's trying to become a lich. Like, he's
yes,
you know, unhinged at the best of times. But going back then again to Eosphere, it's like, what did we do in Eosphere for like 5 sessions? Like, I know the Derby had a session, the race had a session, but the next biggest thing was
just to go back. We arrived towards the end of session 7. Session 8, we did the Displacer Kittens. We went to the cliffside and we did all that. And then we had a bit of time that dinner. Like, we had a lot of role play and stuff between all of that. Session 9, we had the heist, which was like the first half of the session, and then the second half of the session was the whole races and everything.
Yeah, and then the first ever joke of where it all started is the first fade to, I think the first and only fade. Well, not the only fade to black, but the first fade to black of the campaign.
Yes, the first of many Calasindia and Samani encounters, I'm sure.
Look, it happens, but then session 10 things start to...
Nagel.
And Nagel's, as long as there's room in the bed.
Bless that man.
I can't wait till we get a little bit further in this recap, because I can't wait to kind of go into more detail of what the sacking of Eosphere looked like. So,
yeah.
It's going to be fun, but let's get through this first. So, in session 10, things start getting a little bit... This is where we first ever heard the prophecy. 26 sessions later, you fulfilled it. A pound of flesh within a shale, place within the lift of veil.
10.
Yeah, session 10. So 26 sessions later, you fulfilled this prophecy.
Yeah. Now, session 10 as well. This is also the this is the first one as well that like we actually did get introduced properly to the Shadow Paradox. Because I remember we actually had a reasonable conversation with Nagel and Derek about, the Shadow Paradox, learning where they were, and the basis of all of them, which is just interesting once again in terms of the knock-on effects down the line, and also the first, well, maybe not the first, but one of many times where Anna was fucked with by Solelio.
First of many.
When Anna burnt down one of her beds, I think.
Yeah, I think this is where the first. This was in the Fat Bastion as well. I'm pretty sure with
yes,
Severin.
It was Severin. Rest in peace. I love that man.
Rest in peace and pieces.
Yeah, in many pieces. But yeah,
is this when the Knowles, your first ever I hate Knowles story kind of starts, or does that happen next session? I think that happens next session.
That happens next session because session 10 is where we went into the ruins.
Yeah, and this is where we first got like items that we're still seeing massive use come out, because we got the Blink Dagger and the Robe of Ice, which is like the absolute like investment dividends coming off of going into that ruins for the group.
Yeah. Look, I have abused the Blink Dagger so much. It's basically, in many ways as well, like it's meant that I don't have to have Misty Step at all. I can just go ahead without it.
But it's a free Misty Step on a bonus action as well, and it's not casting
it's it's 3 free Misty Steps. Like as a warlock, that is amazing.
Yeah, and just the mobility that provides, like every turn it's like 60 feet blink. It's like that's like, because warlocks aren't a super heavy bonus, like unless you're playing something like Zabani, which is like a smite warlock. Like
as Kay just says there, if Rasa has abused the Blink Dagger, then what the heck has AJ done with that robe? Look, we don't talk about what AJ's done to that robe, because every session that thing just gets absolutely used to bits.
Look, the passive perception is like 35 now. That's like, I think like it's good as a DM to give out items that the players enjoy, and I definitely think that the Blink Dagger and Robe of Eyes have been items that this group has really, really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm correct. The Blink Dagger was the one that Calisinde actually cut himself with upon the altar.
I know you had a sacrificial, actual serrated blade that would seal the wound on the altar in
The one in
Inishale.
in this hell, but no, the one inside the ruins here in Irisvia.
Oh yes, yes,
There was a knife. There was a dagger, which I think was actually the Blink Dagger as well.
yes. Oh no,
Or
there was a
maybe
separate
it's
dagger.
separate.
There was a separate dagger.
Or was
The
it
blink dagger was the one on the bottom.
right? Right. Yes, because that's right. There was the two bodies, which was also had the eyes. The
Yes.
row of eyes.
Nate
Yeah.
says, "I love your bloody faces, but I've got my work Christmas party tomorrow, so I'm gonna tap out. Enjoy, Nate. We will see you around. Enjoy that
Yeah.
work Christmas party. Drink
Have a
irresponsibly."
good time. Absolutely. Drink irresponsibly. Have a good time, Nate.
You guys just have this bit out right for now.
For now.
I'll say no more, but for now.
Um, but yeah, so I think that's interesting as well in terms of the bodies because although we didn't, although we at the time didn't quite find out the full story, though, that was actually the first link towards Irizilic.
Yeah, well, you saw in this vision because there was a grim psychometry that Rainer did, and we saw Irizilic actually approach these people and kill them. I think it's the first
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting because you with a certain realm of like inconsistency can track Irizilic's journey before he went back to the Starless. Is even though he was in Inishale, he must have then gone to Irisvir and then figured out he has to go back to Inishale, perhaps, or did he go to Irisvir? Or was he not willing to cut off his eye? Like you didn't ever get to answer these questions from Irizilic, which we'll get to down the line. It's like, why didn't he give a pound of flesh?
I'm actually very curious about this because obviously he got the shard, and I want to know where he got the shard from. Because we know that he went to the ruins beneath Irisphia, and he didn't unlock the dungeon or whatever it is
No.
beneath it. So he would have read the prophecy, gone up north to Inishale, and didn't sacrifice a pound of flesh there. So it just makes me think in terms of like the timeline of events. He got the shard, returned to Izinhar Exandia, and now I'm not too sure if we've actually talked about on stream about everything that's happened to him back in the Starless territory in regards to Izinhar Exandia, in terms of his full story, like why he left.
I don't believe we have Chaos in the chat. Yo, actually, we got a fucking dungeon to do. Screw this RP. I was promised a mega dungeon. Look, there is a mega dungeon.
Look, there is a mega dungeon, and we will be going there eventually because there's two of us
we've got
that desperately
at
want
least
to go
another
there.
session of roleplay to get there.
Yeah, many more.
But no, we
yes,
never
I
talked about
think that-
Irzilic's journey, like, because it's not been.
Yes.
It's something we've talked about because it's like in character. So what happened with Irzilic is he got a shard. He went to go and like activate it or use it or bring it to his people, and then it got taken off of him, and he stole it back and he left. He treason basically for the Starless. He left pursued by Inquisition, and it's something that I'm very curious if you'll ever figure out in character of Irizilic's story, because it's you don't know if he got the shard in Inishale. You don't know if he got like did he go Inishale, Irisvir, Inishale, or did he go Irisvir, shard, home, Inishale, and then lose his mind and forget what he was doing in Inishale?
Well, the way I kind of view his story is that he got the shard, returned home, he ran off with the shard after everything that happened there, abused its powers there at the start to escape, went to Irisvia because he learned of the ruins there, which is why he was so ready to kill the two guardians of the place, as he did, because he already knew that he was being targeted by the Inquisition. At that point, it didn't fucking matter. He could kill them. Cool. He was already an enemy of the state. And at that stage, probably using his powers quite a lot, his mind already started to slip. And then seeing the prophecy there, probably would have taken a bit of time at least to research and find out where Inishale is, and then do the very long journey up there. And by the time he reached Inishale, probably by that stage, his mind had potentially fractured.
You are correct. By the way.
And
This is you pieced this
yeah,
timeline together very well.
yeah,
But one thing that
but
that we haven't really talked about, or at least much, is you know for a fact that the agents of the Inquisition were in Irosphere some time ago.
yes,
You've never said that to your mother, so you don't know if she because you've talked about the ruins of Irosphere, but she's never shown that that was a known thing to her. So either there's two
yeah.
possible situations: your mother is lying to you, or the Inquisition is lying to the Crown.
I mean, I don't know how much in-character stuff you want me to say here.
As
But
much
I
as
feel
you're
like these
comfortable.
streams, I feel like these streams are pretty open. I mean, look, Calacintia doesn't trust anyone, and knowing that, Calacintia especially doesn't trust the Inquisition. It's especially
When Casimir was a member of the Inquisition, he has reasons to
Yes,
not trust the Inquisition.
exactly. He has his allies within the Inquisition that he knows he can trust, but he also knows a lot of the people in it, especially the people that would have vocally questioned him about his whole position that he's found himself in, about his whole quest. Those ones there, he doesn't trust.
Yeah,
So
there's
he's very much drawn up. He's very much drawn up in his mind, and create a list of the Inquisition. Like, who can he trust? Who should he not trust? So
okay, so
he's
so
very
follow up.
much leaning towards that side.
Why does he think the Inquisition is lying to the Crown?
Ultimately, I think in his mind, it's because he justifies it that the Inquisition does not want someone else to reclaim the Dying God. Like, they want to be the ones responsible for doing it. And they see themselves as the inheritor of that task and trying to almost push themselves and keep themselves at the forefront, very much, in a sense, like politically motivated more than anything else, to keep themselves at the forefront of Starless society. So there's no one else with such a position, a theological position, to be able to challenge them, which someone independent from the Inquisition, like a Irazilic or a Calacindia, would be able to do if they had someone arrive.
Also, it strengthens the
shards.
Crown or strengthens the
Exactly.
Inquisition. It does not strengthen both.
Exactly. And especially because both times now there have been members of the royal family that have gone off and done this, that he sees very much from their eyes that he is a challenge, just like Irazilic to them is a challenge. If they return home with shards,
He's
the
going
people
against the rules.
The people of the Starless, their lands will look towards them and the Crown more than the Inquisition.
So what
So
is
that's how he sees
Calacinder's
it.
view going to be if the Inquisition manages to get the shard from the Pallid Elves? Then there's a shard within the hands of the Inquisition and a shard within the hands of the Crown.
Look,
It could cause a civil
Calacindia
war.
is-
Like, in theory, this could cause a civil war.
Calacindia is not beyond causing a cheeky little insurrection, a cheeky little coup of the Inquisition, trying to reform their leadership, so to speak. He's not entirely. He's not entirely
Reform the leadership.
Exactly. He's not beyond that.
But I just think it's funny because this session 10 was so influential for what would come.
Yes, which is also very. If we have to live through a second civil war, I swear to God.
Look, if I had a nickel for every civil war the party has started, I'd have 3.
But look, I think it's also three.
Yeah.
There's the one in the Feywild, which we didn't start. That was already going to happen.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
100% Karen starting a civil war.
Corrin. Oh yeah. That's pre-stream though. You can't.
Because
That's pre-stream. That's pre-stream.
That's pretty straight. The Casellia one. Which Casellia one?
Oh no, we didn't start that with Menterothea. Nah, that had nothing to do with the party.
no.
I can confirm
If I had-
that had nothing to do with the party.
No, that had nothing to do with the party. But no, it's Section 10 was really, really influential. And I definitely think it's very
Well,
curious because, like, in theory, Irazilic, for many, many years in his insanity, only was speaking to the last.
Yeah. So he would have just gone in there. So maybe at that stage, why he didn't sacrifice the hand? I don't know. Maybe the last persuaded him not to do it because the last saw that he was, he had been absolutely broken by the power of the shard, that he was not the one to be able to carry on this mission. So the last basically made sure that Irizilic did not sacrifice, do that extra step.
Yeah, you are right. But so after that, we got onto session 11 where you.
Well, actually, I think it's also interesting, just quickly in terms of. Actually, no, that was session 11. Never mind. Carry on.
Yeah. So in session 11, we kind of started seeing Aerosphere on it. You had one last little bit of a job from the Lawmaster that kind of all jobs were kind of off the table until the festival's over, because it's just bad for joy and merriment if people are dragging through, proof of kills and such. Whereas I thought myself, I was like, you know what? I'm going to introduce a Flind, a high-level Null, very, very dangerous, and Zamani said, fuck your chicken strips. The first time we saw Zamani say fuck your chicken strips. I think it was the first time anyone at the table did more than 100 damage in a single turn.
Yes, the only thing I can think of potentially was late game Velfira. I know I critted a few times. I managed to pull off some big attacks, but I don't think it was quite that much.
Yeah, that no fight, Merkin walked 30 feet.
Yeah. That entire fight, Merkin had just like.
It was really Zamani's time to shine. It was a excellent time for a Hexblade rogue to get their moment off, and I was super happy that, because kind of me and Jen, bless Jen, she's great to have at the table. She's not a combat player, but kind of before the campaign started, she was like, "Hey, can you help me make a character?" And I was like, "Absolutely! You have the concept. I'll help you build it around a class." And he kind of first got this combo off, and it was really nice to see finally come, 11 sessions deep, come out. But there was I can actually, even until recently, you only finished selling some of them. You, from the Flynn's camp, found a diamond, 3 topazes, 3 jade cut rings, 700 copper, 1,100 silver, 112 gold, 8 platinum pieces, the Magus' blade, which got sent to Nagel, and Heward's handy haversack, which I believe Zamani has.
Yes.
And you found out the Demon Lord. Do you have the name of the Demon Lord for Flynn's and Nulls? Because I have it here.
If you give me... Des, can you give me 1 second? And I'll pull it straight up for you. And I bring it right up. I mean, I'm just going to look at the demon stream we did, in which case we mentioned them and did some world building.
I don't think we did.
we did, and I can prove it to you. Bear with me. Play a little bit of intro music here.
Well, the music's going. Don't worry about it. But yeah, we saw a usual organization of this gobbledygoo. Yeah, absolutely. But the local population of in session levels started seeing an uprising, and for more organization than they'd ever seen, and that was because of Flint. So there was a contract put out which was 600 gold, I believe, as a reward. Well, it was 1,200, but split 600 each way for the Shadow Paradox and you guys, I think. But you had to hand in the flail it carried as a reward for that, which was very, very interesting. But the report spoke of a larger one, and the Flint was like, I was like, we're going to have a Null, and it's going to be dangerous, and it was nope, it's not.
I think that's like the one time we've managed to defy your expectations in a fight.
No, it was the last time it happened as well in Corinthian Journey. It was also Nulls, and that's where we got our Null prejudice joke from.
We just hate Nulls.
It happens, It
is the festering hunger.
It is, or more commonly known as Trinin, the Festering Hunger. The actual name I was looking for, which you guys heard in game. But
gobbledygoo.
Other than that, the Lawmaster's name Tara at that time. Apology for someone's, and I think we ended this with you also found a little bit of while traveling for the forever, you stumbled upon a site spattered with gold blood. Now it's speak of a light dragon, then it's speak of a wormling, and trying to help it, and hunters on their tails. Same hunters who took down the eagle, by the way.
Yes. So, okay, that was my question. So that linked into the whole.
Yeah, that was a link. That was kind of like the eagle, the two-headed eagle, was the setup for what would have happened to the light dragon, which I've rolled for to determine. We might see some stuff down the line of these hunters and the light dragon. And the light dragon didn't get slain from your perspective; it got heavily injured. But it's like being a pure good, which was not the best. Which kind of started seeing forces of good within Prentice is are starting to be assailed, and it's kind of like Not that good is leaving the realm, but like there's more chaos and evil starting to rise up, which is, you know, not an issue.
I think it's also just on session 11. Sorry, were you going to say something, Biz?
No, absolutely. Go ahead.
Actually, in session 11 as well, just to go back to the very start, after leaving the ruins, there's a sit down where everyone interrogated Calasindia about that. And that was the very first time that Calasindia, session 11, where he mentioned the dying god. Because before that, he never told anyone about his patron, who it was. And it was session 11.
It's so open now that it just feels like it's something that was always known, but I can't. Yeah, we went 11 weeks at the party actually knowing who your patron was.
Yes, exactly.
Cal is a pretty cringe nerd, to be honest.
Look, Cal is a nerd, canonically.
Canonically, very nerdy.
Canonically,
very cool, very nerdy.
But yeah, I just found that interesting as well. Like going 11 sessions without finding out the patron. That was fun.
But no, I feel like session 10, 11 was all very important, and then 12 things got real. 12 things got scary as well. I think session 12 was your all group's first brush with death. Like everything seemed pretty chill. Like nothing was lethal. Nothing was like too much this, too much that, and it's just it was scary. So what happened in session 12?
Yeah. So session 12 actually started out with us traveling along the road to the Tempest Soul Priory. But before we reached that, actually, we had a very interesting... I think this was... I'm just trying to have a look here. Yes, this is the first time that Calasindia started to see full visions of his companions, and actually told, I think it was Anna during the session, the very first person he told about her, like what he saw of her future. And they had a whole discussion about that, and that was the first time that came up. But I think that was very interesting as well, because that was the first time we had Solelio being described to the party, what she looked like in terms of an obsidian figure with eyes like a burning sun. That was the very first time we had that description, was in this session, and it wouldn't come up again really until later on. But that was the first time we had that link with the whole dreams and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, so we really started seeing Cal's capability to interpret dreams, interpret these visions, and kind of like lead the party. Do you remember the vision you had of Anna?
Yeah, it was Anna in the woods in a half transformed state, conversing in some way to Solelio, essentially, an obsidian individual with eyes like a burning sun.
Yeah.
But I think that was interesting as well, because that's
also Rip Bozo, no chance of a half transformed state anymore.
Yeah, but also that was a very interesting section as well, because the whole Solelio Anna connection was really coming to its fruition there. Like,
yeah, it was starting to come to a head.
It was really ramping up.
It was
and that was session 12, where it was reaching a high point.
Hey, Winter's Tales rating us with a party of 43.
Oh my god!
Hello, how are we lovelies on a day like today?
How are you going?
What's up? We haven't seen you guys in a minute. How's things? What were you up to?
Yeah, what were you guys doing?
Let's get this. What's up? Tell us what you're doing. Tell us how you did it. Were you playing? Were you world building? What's up? How's things been? It's been a minute. Welcome to the Eldritch Scribe. We're doing our recap series where we're actually going through our current campaign session by session, and we're recapping everything that's kind of happened and what kind of other stuff could have happened and what brought us through here so far. We're still we're on session 10, a little bit of the way through there, but the VODs are available. So you're world building on unboxing the Deck of Worlds. Ooh, I think I saw something about the Deck of Worlds recently.
That's cool.
That sounds cool, though. How do you find the Deck of Worlds? Is it good? How did the world building go? Did you get some good stuff done? But yeah.
Des, maybe you can answer this for me. What is the Deck of Worlds? Because I've never heard of it.
I think it's... I haven't... I've only seen a bit of it. If I am not mistaken, it's kind of something to, like, randomly generate, like, a bit of lore. So, like, you can pull a card and it's like, oh, well, this is, like, a mountain. And then you pull a thing like, well, it's a mountain known for this. And it's kind of like... It's for creating like different like local lores and like kind of story driven like different areas. Which just tells you could answer us
I like
better in
that.
chat, because
I like
I think I saw the Kickstarter, and that's like the vague memory I have of it.
It's the gist of it. Okay.
Deck World has many plot and place and character cards, all themed, arranged, and stuff. Oh, very cool, very cool. So I'm not too far off. I'm not exactly right, but I'm not too far off.
You mostly got it. You mostly got it.
Prompts for writing world building. That sounds really cool. That I definitely think it'd be something I'd look into. That sounds like it could be a lot of fun. You know. But yes, did you have fun with it? You loved it. Did you get any cool generations? How did it go? Hey, I got it right. Perfect.
That would actually be fun for world building down the line. Actually,
definitely could be. But welcome to all the raiders. Come hang with us. We're kind of going over. It's a great time to catch this stuff because recapping. You know, it's a story engine of the character. Yeah, it's really cool. We do a lot of homebrew stuff over here ourselves, especially on a Wednesday normally when my work isn't messing me around. Currently we're doing a recap series, but we'll probably be done this in the next few weeks, I'd say, and then we live play on Monday. So if you like what you see, drop us a follow. Happy to have you here. We're currently getting to a moment in campaign where we got to something quite gory, I will say. Just warning, beware. There's some dark notes of coming up. It was a flaming trash heap. I love it. Hate to raid and run, but have a good stream. Hey, no worries. I understand raiding and running after stream for a while. It does get mentally draining, but thanks for dropping by. Thanks for bringing your people here. It's great to see you. Love to have you. But in session 12, things started to get very, very, very dark and dismal. It was the kind of first notes we had of like your BBEG, which is the Saint of Undeath in our campaign, coming to get you. You made your way to a priory of knights that was against the Saint of Undeath, the Knights of the Tempest Soul, some people that you thought could become or would be good allies down the line. As you got there, you noticed that there was only a squire there, a woman by the name of Althea, what looked to be half-elven, perhaps.
Yeah.
Aasimar kind of vibe. But you found that the day was nice and it was well and good. I like it though, because we all picked up that something seemed slightly off. Like nothing was as it seemed it should be, but at the same time, it didn't seem so. I don't know. It didn't seem so nefarious at that point. It seemed like things are slightly strange, slightly off, but we don't really know enough. It doesn't seem that bad, so it can't be that serious. The Saint of Undeath, where they all dressed in white. That's such a bad joke. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. That's great. So stupid. Yes, they're all dressed in white. Yeah. But when we eventually encounter Samael, I just want him to tell that joke to us. Imagine. But you thought everything was kind of a little bit amiss. Things weren't really right. Things weren't really how they should be. There was some really heavy scents of like cherries, and like I described it like a lot of scents that are used to like hide the sense of poison. Like these super sweet. Oh, sure. And she asked you to stay for dinner, and she's like, you know, just stay. She gave you like quarters. You're like, sleep and eat. It's all fine. And once again, dinner comes around. Google searches. My Google search has to be cleaned again. It's kind of fucked. And I had to start researching because what ended up happening is I want to say that you even asked her about the recipe. She started cooking you this very, very long pork-like meat. And strange tasting pork. But you also arrived very time. This one thing was we were doing open world, and it's very much so a thing of like you can't do everything, but you managed to arrive in time for this. But at the dinner went very, very well, and she said, "Thank you. It's Joanna's." And Joanna being the night that she was serving you. Yeah. Not the recipe of Joanna. It tastes like a veal pork, heavily sauced, long pork. It's some research that I'll never forget. But this is where we start to see the first human will flavor now be known as long pork. Yeah, look, it is the long pork of the meat world. But then we kind of got to the trauma of the night, which was the first time Merc's cloak actually came in clutch is she was the only one with passive perception to actually notice. Which was the movement of long pig is traditional name for human flesh. Yeah, long pork, exactly. See? Chat gets it. Chat gets it. The party ate long pork. But that being said, is you kind of had an option in this because Mercutio woke up to the sound of chains, which was later revealed to be the chains that were locking the temple in the area, in this small little priory. And Mercutio started waking up the party, and you made your way up through the various floors of the priory and started going into rooms and noticing everybody has been killed in their beds.
Yeah, there was gruesome sights of mutilation, ritual killings, slaughter, and other horrible things everywhere we went if we just poked our heads in. Yeah,
it was a little fucked up. Not gonna lie, quite fucked up. But that being said, it was very, very traumatic. But you've, in your various states of like ready and awake in gear, not in gear, with your weapons, not with your weapons, you saw outside rain of blood now pouring down from the heavens, Althea standing in the middle of the priory. And that's when we first got our Dimension Door combo from Cade, using Anna to Dimension Door Rainier to Althea. And this Oathbreaker, what she basically ended up being, is now fighting, but also tears streaming down her face the entire time, asking for you to kill her. And this is kind of the first, first severe consequence of against Samael.
Yeah.
There's many ways that I thought this could have gone. So what happened is you guys slayed Althea and found that Heathen was within was being drained ritualistically with the actual lance of Justine, literally using desecrating the priory.
Yeah.
And you killed Althea. There was no thought, no approach to saving her, but with the quick pace of combat that you did, you managed to save Teethan. Rather than, there was a couple of ways it could have gone. You could have gotten Teethan as an ally, but not Althea. You could have gotten Althea as an ally, but Teethan were too late to save Teethan. You could have gotten neither. You could have gotten both. And I think it's definitely one of the first times we saw you guys not get the best ending, so to speak. Best ending obviously would have been save Althea, subdue her, and hopefully break this sleeping bloodline somehow, with Teethan perhaps doing that more renewed purpose. But instead, Althea had to be put down because combat went pretty hard. What do your notes say about session 12?
Look, about the combat,
about everything.
About the combat itself, the main notes in there are basically, to put it in brief terms, holy fuck. Are we gonna fucking make this? This is intense.
Yeah, it was our first lethal fight, when people who seriously could have died.
Yes. And not just lethal as well, our real first sense of this being a turning point fight. The outcome of this will have massive knock-on effects. So that was, it was honestly quite interesting just for that alone. I'm really curious though about restraining Althea and potentially helping her, how we would have gone about that, considering what we know about the sleeping bloodline. How we would have really tried to help her there.
Well, look, I suppose the first thing is once if you had gotten Althea, not Teethan, it would have been much harder. Whereas if you had Teethan and Althea, if you managed to save them both and subduing and restraining Althea, it could eventually be done. You spent enough time in the consecrated area to Justina, perhaps a little bit of divine favor from Teethan could have helped not sever it, but make her awake again. Because as we know from Althea, is she was an Aasimar of... She's a descendant of Samael. Literally using as a pawn of his own machinations, but Teethan could have, with the right purpose, with the Starfall Lance, subdued the sleeping bloodline if he knew it was present.
Right, okay. That's interesting.
Not stopped it, but it would have been something... I imagine it would have seen us looking for a cure for the sleeping bloodline much earlier in the campaign than where we are now.
Yeah. So it would have potentially knocked her down to the same level that we were at with ours, essentially?
I would say you wouldn't want her out as a combat because it would have been moments where she's not herself. It would have been, you can't have her as an ally now, but you'll unlock her for later for when you can crack the sleeping bloodline.
Right, okay.
The sleeping bloodline being the effect that the entire party was put on before the start of the campaign, where the State of Undeath had taken their mind and memories for 4 years and uploaded them as he saw fit, similar to a vampiric spawn, but not fully with the same benefits. No health or dental.
Yeah, no leave.
No leave. But yeah, you could have like perfect scenario. Althea and Teethan were saved because also Teethan's not an ally yet. He has to go on a quest of redemption. He's pretty much almost done with it at this point.
I think it's quite interesting as well, though, with that whole Priory thing. It's the fact that whilst we didn't save Althea, the chances of us going there when we did was also extremely low. Because it's something that we could have easily just overlooked and then gone much later down the line when everything had been finished there and there was no chance of saving
that was
anyone.
100% I thought you guys would go there down the line. I was going to have this very visceral scene to describe to you of everything that had gone wrong, and Althea would be somewhere else and an enemy for down the line, still under the Sleeping Bloodline. And perhaps even more empowered by the power of Samael. But you guys kind of like, it was one of your first like open world timed events that you managed to get to and stop before it became an issue, which is pretty cool that you guys got to that point. But after that happened, Teethan really started to blame himself because all the information, again, we see a reason why this was happening is Althea destroyed most of the information on Samael. And if you guys hadn't managed to save Teethan, you would have never found the secret logs kept by the Knight Commander, not to any other member, which talks about the ritual in Lake Hetzspire to somehow bind the Saint of Undeath.
Yeah.
Albeit unfinished and something to work towards. So you kind of you were better off saving Teethan, not Althea, than Althea, not Teethan.
Yeah.
But it was a big big the torn feeling for Teethan because he's Knight Commander, but he doesn't feel worthy anymore. And going on this quest of redemption for himself to now head to the original Priory on the other side of the world to seek redemption, which he is like, we've had a lot of time in game to move. He is there, he is on his way back, and whatever happens or whatever happened. But we also saw some really good talks from Mercestor really start talking about faith to Teethan, and I'm curious now what would the current Mercestial have said the same stuff after giving up Solelio and such? You know, is it a...
Yeah. Look, I think Mercestial has had a very surprising relationship with her faith. As, being a high priestess, having so many moments recently as well, particularly recently, of questioning it almost. So yeah, that's it. It would be very interesting to see if she would have had the same response.
Very interesting.
Especially now as well, with Mercestial looking towards Justina, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, this is what set up Mercestial being able to even look towards Justina, because, like, if I look at my notes for this specifically, I have like kind of like relation trackers, and it's like if you save it, like saving Teethan is like a big part of like increasing your relation with increasing your relation, and this is where we first started to see some of the problems with Rainier. So.
That's right.
This is actually, I didn't even write down this one relationship with Teethan, reason Rainier's attitude basically like, oh, cop on, like, I'm just gonna fucking do whatever. And then the other is Rainier trying to sneak up on it, which has severely, and I mean severely, like a -2, like if I talk, it's like, you know, a scale of like neutral is 5 and 10 is best friend and 1 is like enemy. It's like Teethan being a possible ally for the party got like the percentage, let's say it was like a 50% chance before, it's like 20% if even now.
See, I'm curious if that was balanced out though by the rest of us not being like that, like the fact that everyone else didn't have that reaction and Mercestial quite having an opposite.
Oh, that definitely boosts the relation, but that it was overall a net loss.
Okay. Yeah, look, Rainier has sabotaged a few things.
Rainier sabotages many attempts to get many allies. It's an issue. But no, it is definitely like I just have written down here, reward for saving Teethan is a possible ally. He will not offer any money unless pressed to do it, or kind of Yeah. Yeah, and if you guys press one, he would have also dropped his opinion, and it's just there's drop, and one increase. But it's like, I suppose the drop in relation is only active as long as Rainier is alive with the party.
Okay, note to self, if we want easier time getting Teethan on our side. Cool.
Kill Rainier.
Cool. Noted. But I thought it was actually really nice, on a more positive side, Merkestiel's relationship with Teethan.
Yeah.
Which was from a very different angle.
It was nice to see AJ also be the wise, kind of like really embodying the wise moments of I still have this awful in session 13. The session starts with when Althea dies. Teethan, still alive, chained up in the Priory Temple, hanging by his wrists, both shoulders dislocated, his feet barely touched the floor, both ankles shattered. Jutting out of his ribcage are hollow copper tubes draining his blood upon the ground. Oof, what a way to go.
Yeah.
And his arms shackled up on the lance behind him. It was visceral.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was an awful way to find somebody. But the copper tubes were removed. Healing magic was expended. And it definitely did. Like, for example, I will say because of the party's actions, he didn't start at neutral. He started already feeling indebted to you, but it's just like, when the majority of the speaking was like, Merkestiel was good, everyone else was pretty neutral. Rainier was a big, cold, and it's like, you know, there's a certain thing to be said for kicking someone when they're down.
Yep.
You know,
and that's what happened then.
Comments that wouldn't normally annoy or aggravate suddenly can deal a lot of social impact based on when said.
Yeah.
And it's very, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see because, like, your for example, your retainer table that you will get when you get an RIL, Teethan is on that table, but the percentage chance is lower after the fact.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we did also tell him, and he kind of said he would visit us at the very least at.
He would, but whether or not he stays as a ally,
retainer, yes. Yeah. But going back to away from that, it's also very interesting because Teethan was the first one to actually confirm to us that Samael was working with the Empire of Ghouls.
Yeah, that was the first. Was he actually? Wow.
Yes, he stated that. He told us, like, in terms of, because we are like, well, at least Calasindia had suspicions that he was the first person to actually say, like, yes, that is true. Yeah. This is confirmed.
Yeah, wow. Like, it's just so wild to think. It's so, like, it feels so much not so long ago, but it's literally like 25 sessions ago now.
And also, Cade brings a very good point up. Rainier bludgeons people to death while they're down. It doesn't kick them down.
True. I'm very curious to see how that will happen because, like, it's not only one potential ally she's fucked you out.
Yeah.
I'm curious if any in the party will ever say Rip Kelsier.
Yeah, look, Rip Boza.
Well, Kelsier actually completely got. I'll double check. I'm 99% sure though. Yeah, Kelsier got removed from your retainer table.
Yeah.
Completely.
I'm not surprised.
You're like, I'm not surprised by this.
Look,
this
I like to think at least that he and Calasindia at least ended on good
terms, but he just says like, I'm not working with the Kingfishers. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's still working with the Kingfishers.
Yeah. I'm curious. I really want to know the different relationship rankings for NPCs and people in the party now.
Look, it's some of them are.
Really
I don't think Rainier actually has a positive ranking anyway. Like,
yeah, that's very fair.
The Cal incident did cause, but it's also. I'm surprised that okay, you can also weigh in on this. I was so shocked that Merkestiel was like, I agree with Rainier. I was like, you fucking what?
Yeah, that was a little odd from Merkestiel.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Like, you know, maybe just different than I thought it would be, but it's like, holy fuck. It was, Yeah, its work was like, I don't give a fuck. He's being a bitch.
Yeah,
I'm confident. I blacked out for a second. I didn't realize it.
yeah. Merch is being possessed by the spirit of Rainier for a second.
Yeah, it's But at the end of that, we had the Knight's Consecration, the Bury of the Knights. That was the end of session 13, I believe. So 12 and 13 was the dealing with the consequences. And then
end of 13 was, I think we'd started leaving actually.
Yeah, you left, traveling to Vrenderwell. Okay. But that's when we started seeing, you know, the road kind of being safe again. You started leaving. Heathen gave directions and decided best to go a different area, trying to call in old favors to see if he could recruit any Knights of the Tempest Soul. He said he would go to Ariel Keep, but he said he would go back to Ariel Keep.
Yes, and he said that he would return with help. I know that he said he would return with some manner of assistance in the fight against Samael. Like, not necessarily working side by side with us, but at least in the fight against Samael.
Yes. But on the journey to Vrenderwell, you came upon a toll on the... This is probably still one of the biggest unanswered questions.
I've mentioned this. This is, for me, the biggest mystery point of the campaign so far. What the fuck this whole section was about. We have no idea. It happened, and then it just hasn't come up again. We haven't discovered anything. We haven't come across anything. It's just a mystery to us. It is a complete mystery.
You also came upon a member of the Knight of the Hollow Tower, a goblin, which is very, very cool. But yeah, you came across a toll over guards killed, no one visible in the toll house, a lone knight and a goblin, one guard left, lockboxes stolen. It's the toll was only 3 silver for a merchant to pass through and 6 copper for a traveler. Here was operating the toll until a retinue of guards was to reman it. Nobility in Vrenderwell offered 300 gold piece for the heads of the scoundrel that did this. Behind it was a Ravenfolk leader and a blue-haired woman and such. But yeah, you guys really didn't they got away. They got away quick. It was very clear that they outskilled you in magics when you guys got there.
Yeah, because we tried to engage with them. And they just teleported out. Before anything could happen, they just teleported out.
Yeah, what the fuck is in that lockbox?
What the fuck is in that lockbox? Why did they steal it? They all had very interesting descriptions. It's just something that... And we've had nothing that's had gone back to that as well. There's been no... It's just... I don't know. It's strange.
You also have to remember, ever since then, you have not been roaming around Burton or that kingdom area. You teleported to Britain City and then left to Ojikir.
Okay, I'm very curious, Des. Is this something that will actually come up later down the line?
It's possible.
Okay, so it is a possibility. It's not like a dead plot point now.
No, it is not a dead plot.
Okay.
Like, it's a chance of something.
Yeah. Did you expect it to end that way?
Oh yeah. It was set up that way that they literally, like, the fact that, like, they use teleport, like, not teleportation circle, the mage among them, the blue-haired Eladrin, I believe it was, literally was like, boom, gone. There's a Ravenfolk leader. Like, it was specific descriptions and all given. It's not intended that you guys would not want to know more about it. 100% I want you to know more about it. I can confirm for you, though, they are a member of a guild that you are familiar with.
Huh, interesting. Look, there's a few contenders that could be. It could be the Shadow Paradoxes, which I don't know. I don't really think it's the Shadow. No. It doesn't really fit their motivation. It could be the Humming Cloaks.
It's not.
Would be curious. It's not the Humming Cloaks. Interesting. You say guild. Like, how strict is that term?
Look, organization, guild. It is a guild by the strictest definition as well.
Okay, is it the fuck, what's their name? I should know this. Let me just...
They prop Sarek nerds? No, they're not.
Those not the criminal organization in Sarek, but not the Petals, not the Tempest, the ones in Sathasa now.
The Echo Knights? Okay. No, it's not them either.
No, the Echoes, yeah. It's not the Echoes. Okay.
No, it's not them either.
And they are an organization we have had contact with this campaign.
Yes.
Okay. Look, there's a lot of guilds that we've had interactions with. Um, it's just a weird mishmash of descriptions as well. Like
You met
potentially
the
they could-
guild representative in Vrendon.
Oh, are they the bards?
They're the Rahashir.
They're the Rahashir? Okay.
No, they work for the Rahashir.
Right. Okay, that explains a lot.
Stealing important political secrets and all, yep. Like stealing, like trying to manipulate things and how it works. It is Rahashir territory, what they did.
Alright,
Sahiri was the NPC you guys met.
Yes.
Yeah, they're cringe.
Very interesting. They are cringe bards. That's interesting though, because that's a whole little plot line we haven't gone down yet. I'm really curious to know how it's going to come back up and in what form.
If it does, it may not. Like we can talk a little bit. Like, I need to get you to roll a D100 very soon. For your retainer, because there's names on that list that has been curated. And it might be better to get you to roll that sooner rather than later, rather than have you roll it on the session, so I can have a bit more written ready for it. Rather than have.
Did you want me to roll it now? Live on stream?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Roll it live on stream. I'm not going to tell you who you get, but it'll help me prepare.
Yeah. Just to throw a random D100 out live on
yeah,
stream.
looks it's D&D related to dice is being rolled, so everyone can be happy.
Okay, that's actually really interesting. That is an 8.
An 8?
An 8 on the D100.
Oh, that's so shit.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Retainers, you want to roll high.
For fuck's sake, can I re-roll that, Des?
1 second. I'll make it a poll. Make it a poll.
I want some cringe. I want someone who's going to be interesting for the campaign, Des.
I'll make it a poll. People can vote yes or no.
Yeah, why can't I save roles like that for like communions and trying to get divine assistance and stuff?
All right. Poll is up. Yay or nay to the poll? I don't think the poll's going to let you. Oh, we got a 50-50.
Oh,
look, this is my guy.
this is a tense moment.
Look, it's got 3 minutes, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get back to that poll.
Interesting. Yeah, look, I don't know why I've just been so hell-bent on this little plot point for such a long time now, but I don't know. It's just something that's really stuck with me. Because it just
Also, yeah,
seems
you
so
can use
random
channel points to
and
vote
out of-
extra times.
Oh. Yeah, but look, okay, then I can as well. I haven't used any of my channel points this entire time. I have yeah, I've got a lot. I've got a lot.
But look, so we got to Rendonwell this session.
Yes, we got to Rendonwell, which I didn't expect. Now that whole Rendonwell situation, definitely not what I anticipated happening.
Why not? Out of curiosity.
Because I had no idea the Darrickle were going to be invading like that. I was just expecting to pass through Rendonwell, probably spend a bit of time there, but that was it.
So yeah, it was a little bit more, dangerous. You guys kind of got there. You realized that there was a Darkle fever outbreak, which was the first really callback until your session. All of your guys' session 0.5s, which was, it was interesting to finally see it on a much larger scale as well this time.
Yeah.
Specifically though is you guys started seeing like people really getting quite sick. I believe this was on session 15 you guys got to.
It was session 14 we actually arrived.
But really didn't start interacting with session. Right end of session 14.
Session 14, actually. Session 14, we actually did start interacting quite a bit. Session 14 is when we arrived. I know personally, I've got my notes, Calisyndia freaking the fuck out because there's a full-blown Daracal infestation they just wandered into. We stayed at the Hog. I can't remember its full name. I've just got written down the Hog, which is no doubt sending Cade over there into panic mode.
I'll tell you. So Cade doesn't panic. Brendan, well, it was the Hulking Hog by Roger.
Hog. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Delrid, you can re-roll. You won. Me and Cade both voted no. Raph, you bitch. You bitch. You needed 1,000 channel points at the end.
Look, I couldn't have. Look, if it was a draw, it would have been boring.
You bitch. What a bitch.
If it was a draw, though, what the fuck would we have done?
Look, I respect the scam.
Yeah. And Cade, you threatened it, so I'm like, I'm gonna get ahead before Cade does it. Okay.
How many channel points do you have?
I have got 166,000.
Oh my god, you could have voted 166 times.
Yeah. I have too many channel points. All
right, so give me a D100 then, you cheater.
Okay, that is much higher. It's not on the same realm as that one there. It's a 74, so still quite high.
74. Ooh, that's an interesting one. 162, wow. So you got 74, yeah?
The battle would have been legendary. Actually, I kind of just want to see that. Just Cade and I just tried to outbid each other. Yeah, 74.
So, fun fact, you were 6 away from being able to roll on the special allies table.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
If you rolled an 81 or above. Well, yeah, so let's talk random well.
Okay, who did I get first, though? Who was the 8?
Oh, an 8 would have just been you didn't get a retainer, you just got extra light infantry.
Okay, that is dud. That is
1 to 8 is regular light infantry. That's all you would have gotten.
Oh fuck, that's awful. That is awful.
I'll talk you through the. Is it really cruel of me to tell you everything on the table bar the result you got?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, bet.
That's fucking cruel, Des.
So session 14. Let's tell me what you have. Tell chat what's on you. I'll hear you. I have to run to the kitchen and just put on some dinner for Shane.
Absolutely. So session 14, we arrived at the Hulking Hulk. We met with a tiefling bard, who Zamani correctly identified as being connected to the Sakti Lavia Bard College in Sathasa, and also discovered that she was a secret member of the Rahashia, which is a secretive order of bards that work essentially to collect bits and pieces of, very secretive and high-profile information and political knowledge and bits and pieces like that. Yes, we had that whole interaction there. The next day, again, we also had one of the major meetings between Anna and Celelio on our first night. And I think that's even when, correct me if I'm wrong, Kate, I think that was the night where Anna first saw a representation of Celelio herself. And that was just once again as that really came into it. But then, yeah, the next day we met with High Priestess Fick of Manoa. We met with the Lawmaster. And I think it's pretty much, we just spoke with the Lawmaster for quite a bit in terms of discussing the whole situation and them arranging for us the meeting with the Volker Mezidir, the local lord.
And session 14, Kate.
Session 14.
But yeah, so we guys saw a lot of stuff come out there, and we saw Fick, who eventually turned out next session was one of the Shadowmancers who was turning a lot of people. So Dark Fever basically is something that happens to people attacked by Darkles, where upon their death they can turn into a ghoul and work for the Ghoul Empire, which is a serious force in our setting that works alongside the Saint of Undeath to kind of cause a bit of mayhem. That being said, you guys did kind of start working towards it on the following thing. You went to the Lord Vulcan Mesadier, who is, as you guys find out down the line, a good ally, a good friend of Jornveer, which is how you guys end up even getting that connection.
Yes. Yeah. So that it was session 14 where Anna saw the very first manifestation.
Yeah, and then the next session, session 15, is when, in character with the Brass Lungs, we figured out that the war of Mantarathir started on the other side of the world.
Yes, we did. I was about to get to that. That is a little juicy tidbit for the future. Probably won't really come up too much in this campaign, but it will definitely down the line.
Definitely. Well, then we got to session 15 where it started to kick into full swing. After the first night within, you really were starting to take home in Rendenwell and start assessing the situation and what would be moving forward. Which, you kind of had a little bit of time to deal with that. You got to meet Uzvenerin, I believe, in section 15.
We did. We went to Uzvenerin's only slightly cursed goods. Emphasis on only slightly cursed.
Only slightly cursed. It is a legal definition. It's only slightly cursed.
Which was fucking amazing. I love that. Once again, it was Venerin.
And you had to decide between blockading the city after that with Vulcan or not.
Yes, which is also, we did investigate the Fortune Teller's card.
For Yannick.
Which we did pick up. Yes, we did pick up some strange things in there, but we decided not to really investigate it too much further. Which later we found out that the Fortune Teller is responsible for very much bringing the Darapul into the city.
Yeah, so, it didn't catch him, but you did kind of figure that out. You found Yannick the Shapeshifter was doing this, and what do you have down for session 15? Because this is kind of where it gets into more combat-y stuff. I think I have
yes,
we kind of ended combat.
It did, because we started off with a lot of investigation. A lot of this was investigative work. We also, Rainier met with Arvin, the alchemist, and learnt about the potion of restoration that they were working on. We also, that's it. Because we split up into different groups that went around and looked in different areas. Zamani and Anno went and spoke with different tavern owners, as well as the bard from the Rahashir. We learnt about a few of the abandoned houses in Vrendenwell that may house the Darrakul. And we had our very first meeting with Vulcan Mesadier, and I kind of built the start of a working relationship with him. We got we eventually convinced him to start a blockade of the city to prevent the spread of Darrakul fever.
Yeah, wait, did you start the blockade? I can't remember if you guys did the blockade or not, because you kept forces within the city.
We did start the blockade. Because we kept
Captain of the Guard, Sus,
city.
That's Mevela. Captain of the Guard.
Yeah, who actually turned out to be chill and actually really cool. I like Mevela.
Yeah, you kept the guards in the city, I thought. You didn't blockade.
We did. When we didn't do like a full blockade. We kept the guards patrolling and enforcing a curfew as like a preliminary thing to the blockade.
Well, you didn't blockade, which is why Yannick gets out.
Yes, why Yannick gets out. However, that meant later that night, we had essentially a full-scale Darrakul uprising. Which I got to ask you, Des, was that triggered by the actions of the group, or was it always going to happen then?
I believe that was date specific. They had enough people. That was happening on that day. So if you guys had taken longer to get there, you guys could have rocked up as the full scale.
Yeah. We could have just rocked up mid-battle, being like, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's also where we fought the initial band of Darrakul, and then we encountered the Shadowmancer there. Well, not just the Shadowmancer, but the former Starless turned into Darrakul. One of the leaders.
One of the high priests.
Yes, the Darrakul high priest.
Which that fight was so intense. That fight was so fucking intense.
look,
It came
that
down to
was
the
intense,
dispel
however,
magic and such.
yes,
I
we
almost
had
got
so
out.
many counter spells and dispel magics that we were able to basically eliminate a lot of their output.
Yeah, and I got
Which
the fever.
was yes, and that is where Anna got the fever. And Anna refused to get well. Yeah.
Just get well for it.
Yep, and we learned about Fick being disguised. And we went to the temple of Manoa and saw that all the patients there were basically killed and
Burns.
blood used in rituals to do symbols of Samael up on the wall and all sorts of unholy acts of desecration. Yeah,
It was
there was a bit of also in character stuff that happened during the session as well between party members. A few interesting moments, which is interesting. This is also where Calasindia had same session that Calasindia had the vision of Rainier about Crosspost, which is something we didn't actually
didn't do. Also, fun fact:
Rainier.
I had this. So, if the High Priest had escaped originally as planned, on the 18th of Yarndar, a full-blown Darkul host army was going to come rock up on Vrendenwell on the 18th of Yarndar, but you killed the High Priest, so it doesn't happen.
Thank God.
Because that's what they were working on the teleportation, so you slowed them down teleportation circle. It wasn't necessary. They could obviously get more in. But basically, that was on the 14th of Ascendia, so it was a month later. A full-blown invasion was going to like full, not even. I don't think Yarndar's even here yet. No, we're in Yarndar now. The start. So it would have been 3 months later. It's full 3 months. I'm not talking like fever. I mean they bringing up their army from the world below.
Yeah.
To rock Vrendenwell. Doesn't happen now.
Thank God we avoided that. Fucking hell.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm thankful we avoided that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's why I was like, fuck, when the guy didn't get out, because I had a full, like, I had a full war ready.
Look, whilst that would be very interesting to see what you planned, thank fuck we didn't hit that point, because that's just too many fires for us to put out.
Think about it, you guys would be walking back from, it's like the second or third of Yarndar right now. You'd be 10 days away from an army coming up from the world below to fight a very unprepared Vrendenwell. You guys probably all would have been in RIL and heard about it.
Yeah, literally. So
with like maybe 1 or 2 units of army from like whatever.
Calasindia would have fucking been abusing that shard if it came down to it. If the Darkul and their army rocked up.
Yeah,
you know that.
Psionic resonance at the wazoo.
Yeah.
Great time, desperate times. But it was literally like quite close to like, I think within a 10 HP threshold of him getting it, we almost had a war. But you guys got it. You guys didn't have to. As Kate says in chat, calculated from birth.
Yeah, absolutely calculated. Yeah, we planned for that to happen.
How does that make you feel now knowing you prevented a war?
Good. Very good. Very satisfied and relieved in our actions.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the next day after that, after all those visions and stuff that happened, we had... What was it? Yes, we had the destroying the teleportation circle. And we also... Was this the session? No, we didn't. The next session is where we dealt with the still infected patients.
Yeah, so I think that's the last of what happened on session 15.
16. Well, this is all session
16, I mean. Yeah, so then we dealt with the... which, again, you dealt with them, you killed a lot of them. And started making your way to RIL Keep after that. After finishing talking up with Volkmund, talking to the new commander, I can't remember her name.
Latara.
So, yeah. But you kind of finished up in Vrendenwell, leaving the heroes, realistically. Like, you did really, really well in Vrendenwell.
I think Vrendenwell was probably the most successful we've been in terms of establishing ourselves as a name. Like, we've done other big things and important deeds, like the whole thing with Irazilic recently. But that's not the type of thing that puts our name out there. The whole thing with Brendanwell, that established
That
us.
established you and Burton pretty well. Like, you
Yeah,
saved a city from, like, the breadbasket of the kingdom from an outbreak of Darkle fever, which is like,
yeah,
it's not for nothing. Like, there is a lot of respect for that. But that's all then traveling at the end of session 16 to. Also, I would say Zamani wasn't there for a lot of that because she got taken by the Decay Lord for a bit of a tongue lashing
yes.
to kind of give out for not really in doing so much.
That
We
was
did kill a
session
kid.
17. Yes, that was session
Yeah.
17, where she
But,
was pulled into that.
Yeah, so within that, let's pull this page out. So, Commander Latara came. Merc was familiar there, but then, yeah, you left for Ariel Keep, I believe, in the middle of session 17.
Mm-hmm.
Which Zamani was not there for. But when you got to Ariel Keep, this is where your what's it called? Your steward gave you a very important
Yes.
parcel, which had a programmed illusion on it, which spoke, Kingfishers, I know you will be suspicious hearing this. Balcom told me of you. We share an issue. Samael took my daughter. My moving against you was not personal, but I failed, and now I am down to my last option. Samael was not pleased. I too must move against him. If you wish to discuss with me, come to Ojikir. Go to the Morning Brew, ask the innkeep for the ring to the cellar door. Till then, Kingfishers.
Yeah.
It's like, this set off like a series of events that were 20 sessions later finally finished. Kind of not even finished dealing with Jarnvir, but like, kind of like the fact that you did so well in Brendanwell made Volcom tell Jarnvir about you, which then made Jarnvir reach out on your journey to teleport and give this item to your stewards. And like, actually, if not for so good of a job done in Brendanwell, you would not have Jarnvir as a potential ally.
Yeah. So honestly, like, that was a very, very important moment.
Quick golf clap for Brendanwell. You did very well.
Yeah, it's look, I haven't felt that proud of us since Brendanwell.
No, I haven't felt that proud of you.
Full stop.
Just full stop. Never. Hasn't happened.
Never.
Rip Bozo.
Yeah, and then also, like, a lot of that session was just learning about Arrow Keep as well, about the stronghold.
Yeah, going around, figuring out the kind of, it's 3 stories in an underground area. You kind of find out the little bit around it. You find the breakdown of the rooms, and you kind of got to start seeing what Ariel Keep could be for families. It has the possibility to become a small village city. It has potential. It's got a good amount of land, and it had a mine, although closed down. But you've got a decent keep behind you now, and that's pretty fucking cool if you ask me.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I'm looking forward to actually getting back there and getting into it now that it's repaired.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what retainer you got. Very excited. But that being said, we got a little bit of time to relax, like kind of to take in your win before things started to go wrong again. Because they did after a night, I want to say, after somebody comes back. Was it that night?
Yes, that's right. Yes, the session 18, we had Zamani and her whole thing with the Decaying Lord. And also, this is the start. This is more for me. Session 18 was the start of a series of dreams for Calacindia that lasted up until recently. It was the first of the
20 sessions of dreams almost. Of the War Table dream. Of the variations of dreams. Looking into a looking glass, and it cracks into so many realities. And you got various dreams that kind of propelled you forward to a different level of confidence. Yeah.
And Zamani, also, this is her meeting with the Decaying Lord. He told her of the location of Inner Shale. It's where we learned where it was.
Yeah, also, essentially, we did a lot of weird time jumps because I was trying to, like...
it was kind of weird.
But yeah, the parties were...
Some of the locals...
yeah, you got presents. You got 3 quilted Burton symbol blankets. You got meat pies. You got 4 pillows and a cured meat basket.
And we learnt that obviously the locals had been very intimidated by the previous lord and seemed very hesitant to even look at Calacindia when he was speaking to them.
Yeah, they were scared of you. They thought you'd be another monster.
Yeah. But yes, and then it was that night that we had something that symbolizes the ongoing strife with this group, like the unluckiness and just the issues, the constant just walking time bomb that some of us are, or at least were at this stage.
Because I still have it written down. So in and sleep, Celelia tries to visit again. I rolled, and my result was a 63. And then what happened was Zamani wakes up and makes her way there, and the decaying lord's voice comes from Zamani and says, "Mad goddess, move away from my titan. You struck a deal for that precious daughter. Even Zygodia recognizes the cosmic rights to my contract. Leave. And if I can't have her," that's what Selenia responds. If I can't have her, no one can.
Fuck. That was... I think that was one...
But this fight split the party as well. Like, this fight split the party a lot.
This
Merc didn't hear the devil say anything. It is the conspiracy theory of a lifetime.
Yeah. Look, this whole confrontation here had me genuinely worried that we would see the party splitting. Like, as a potential outcome of it.
Maybe. If not for the fact that we were a D&D forcing our way together. Yeah.
Yes. But like session 18, it ended with devils versus a celestial, duking it out like a fucking kaiju battle in the courtyard of our keep, with us just caught between it on different sides.
Yeah, people took sides in this, and Rainier lost the plot.
Yes, and look, it was fucked up because the only two people that were really sane in that moment was Zamani and Calacindia. Because Anna was being...
Well, Mercestiel was sane.
Mercestiel was sane, but was very blinded at that stage. So we had the whole fight. I think it was just interesting. It was very interesting.
Literally, you had devils trying to protect you from an angel, which is a wild concept, first of all.
Yes. Which I think was very interesting, as well as the fact that, for me at least, as well, it was difficult to decide where to put Calacindia in that fight, from an in-character position.
Yeah, look, it was a fight that I intended to, like, I woke you all up in the middle of the night. No one had the entire information. Everyone was working with 20 to 30 to 40 to 50% knowledge of what happened, bar Zamani. And I made you all make decisions. I wouldn't let you guys just stop and talk about it, try and figure out what are we doing. It's like, no, this combat's happening. We're not stopping to talk. We're not metaing. What are you doing? Like, judge on the information you have seen. And I fucking loved it. I thought it was like kind of, there was a consensus of the group after that it was like, oh, how do we move on from this? And I was like, that's exactly what I'm trying to do is, how will you move on from this? Like, you guys have to work together. How are you going to work together? You know?
Yeah. And I think it was just very interesting to see the repercussions of it, but also I'm really just curious, did you have a few different outcomes for it? In terms of
in what regard?
In terms of how the fight ended up. In terms of how it could have ended up. Because obviously we know how it did fall for us. But did you have like different outcomes, different timelines of what could happen?
I thought more people could have died. I genuinely thought people could die. I was concerned for the group in a lot of ways. It was my first like real, oh fuck, is this a TPK moment that I kind of set up, because it's like, it's very difficult to plan for this, because like I'm planning to give you guys chaos, so how can I plan for the chaos when I don't know how you're all going to react? And I thought maybe one person dies, so maybe two people die. I thought maybe it's a full party wipe and I have to pull out my Hail Mary plan for a TPK. And it's like,
which is,
I'm not telling you.
That's
got my contingencies.
Yeah. But that, I don't know, there were so many memorable moments in that fight from between,
like, the devil's trying to force wall, be like, stop it, if you're not going to help us, get the fuck away. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Which also initiative made such a big deal. Merkestiel rolled higher than a lot of the group for once. And initiative
once,
played a
Merkestiel
really,
rolled
really
higher.
big thing to that because Calacinder had to go round. So did Zamani. Rainier
Yeah,
would
although,
but Merkestiel
Yeah.
got out.
which is the thing, is then Rainier, who flew into a rage at Olivia's death, the first person she saw and the only person she could target. Actually, at the start, it was Calacinder, but then Calacinder ran the fuck away, telling Rainier to basically stop.
Yeah.
And then just ran off. And so Zamani became Rainier's target. And so Zamani was torn to pieces by Rainier, essentially.
Yeah, Anna went first or second. It was Merkestiel pretty quick after. In terms of group, I believe we went Anna, Anna, Merkestiel, Cal, Zamani, Rainier. Or, no, it was Rainier, Zamani.
I think
Which
Rainier
saw-
went before both Zamani and Cal.
No, because you managed to get further away thanks to you getting out the window.
Well,
You went.
No, because she attacked me first. She actually attacked me, and then
Oh
I
yeah, so it was
ran.
Rainier, Zamani, Cal, or Cal, Zamani.
Yeah, yeah.
But that,
Because- and then
you
I
think
teleported
the
out.
normal situation is Merkestiel goes last normally. Merkestiel going before most of the party, which is because Merkestiel got there and where the devils were placed is, if it was different, Zamani and Cal could have made it out into the courtyard, and then the wall of force got up, and then everyone deals with the Seraph, and it's like, you know, there's more chance for the devils to communicate with the party, and Merkestiel sees all of her allies attacking the angel. It's kind of, it was really down to initiative. I was really fucking curious how it all played out, because it really came down to the initiative. Like, the chaos of this fight was everything I could have hoped for and more.
Look, without a doubt, one of the most engaging and interesting fights I think we've had the whole campaign.
Oh yeah.
Look, it's one of my favorite fights. I still think it's probably my favorite fight. But yeah, so it was really curious because you had a few different fights going on, because you had Zamani being torn down by Rainier as Anna and Merkestiel were fighting the devils along with the Seraph.
Yeah,
and then Calacindia, I remember he teleported out at the start in order to get Berod and I forgot her name, Nina away, like telling them to get the fuck out.
And they're trying to arm themselves to come up to fight.
And then Calacindia came back in to the fight, and I think I started attacking. I saw the Seraph attacking Rainier, because Rainier had killed Zamani.
Yeah, not just attacked, but killed.
But killed Zamani, and then had continued the fight, gone into the Seraph. Calacindia returned in time to see the Seraph attacking Rainier, so Calacindia started attacking the Seraph, and that's when Calacindia prayed for a miracle.
And a miracle happened.
Calacindia prayed for false divines and devils to stop fighting in his halls, and the dying god responded.
Yeah, that was a badass scene. I'm like, that fight is like up there of like it's my top fights of the campaign. I think even, I don't know if they're like, like even for like future fights that come up, I'm like, this fight, the mechanics that went behind it, and the fact that it, like, normally initiative plays a strong role for like combat capabilities, but for these story implications, initiative alone had such a massive implication.
Yeah.
Like, and I tried to banish Merkestiel and stuff. I tried to be like, get the fuck. Like, I tried to command, help your friends.
Yeah.
Like, and like,
which is interesting because the devils were helping the party. The devils were helping the party against the Celestial. Like,
yeah, Anna also did a haste meme on Cal. That did happen, didn't it? Hasted and then pulled it off to stun you.
But that's the thing. Yeah, because I can't. Yeah. I'm trying to remember how that happened, because it must have been before I saw you fighting alongside the Seraph. Because it has to be a willing creature. So I think, I can't remember how it went down, but I think
it happened before. I do remember that.
Yeah, I don't have the clearest memory of that.
I'll have to go back and watch it. I will probably watch that fight again. That fucking fight. Oh my god.
I actually haven't rewatched that fight, but I'm kind of
curious. I need to. As much as I hate listening to my own voice.
Yeah, look, same. Honestly, I just kind of mute the sections while I start talking.
But my god,
Which is
that
not
fight,
easy,
that
yeah.
fight alone, of like all fights we've had this campaign. What about you, Cade? Where does that? How does that fight rank for fights of the campaign? Is that up there for you as well? But I'm also very aware of the time there. I'm going to wind down now because we're at the end of a session as well.
Yeah.
So this is the
perfect.
last little bit of the stream where we wind down a little bit, and I think Anna's thought process, Cal hasn't made a decision for a side at that point in the time she put it on him until he actually is. Yeah, it was absolutely a great fight. But if you liked what you saw, we're recapping. If any of this stuff sounded cool, follow us on Mondays at 12 p.m. GMT to watch this sort of sessions happen live. We recapped up to about session 18 today, so we probably at this pace we may only have 2 more recap sessions to go, depending on how much there's to talk about. But we really had a lot of fun with this, and if it's within your means to just watch me shill for but a minute, please. I'm going to shill for us for only a moment. We're doing D in December, and you may ask yourself, what does that mean for us? So over on our Patreon, for the measly low price of $5 a month, we are doing D in December, which we're putting out a subclass and a race or a sub-race every week in the month of December on the Thursday. So that's 5 total. 2 are already up. 1 will be up tomorrow. It is going to be a total of 5 subclasses, 4 races, 1 sub-race. There's already, if you want to see some of our work for free, we've got in our D&D December announcement, we've got a College of the Brass Logan's Bard and the Stress Knight Fighter. 2 very, very cool subclasses. If it is within your means, just even if you just click on it and think about it, it'd be very cool. If it's within your means to support us further, subscribing to the Twitch is also a great means. But other than that, maybe hang out with us on Discord, join us on our socials, drop a follow on the channel. We'll be back on Monday to kind of to vibe to this, and we'll see you then. I'm a little bit dreading. I need to go have my dinner, so I'm not going to chill a little too harder. We're going to raid out.
Yes.
So
we have this Troll Lord Games.
There's
Archive.
let me check. There is Arrow. I think we'll do Arrow.
Oh, yeah, there's Arrow as well. Yeah.
Bye bye. We'll see you.